Justin Gaethje's in a bit of a tough spot again. Justin Gaethje, during COVID, got kind of put on the bench. There wasn't much for him out there. They never gave him the title shot. They made fights around him. They didn't include him. Now, it could have been because he badmouthed the UFC in an interview a little bit and wasn't overly happy how the way things were happening. But since then, we've seen him come back and he has fought Chandler and he's fought for the title. Two both exciting, great fights. Justin Gaethje isn't a fun fighter to watch. He brings chaos into the UFC, into his fights. He is always, well, and he had the Khabib fight as well, sorry. So he came back. He kind of got he got put on the bench while everything was happening, right? But what's left for him in the division? We've got Beneil Dariush, who he's probably not going to fight because I'm pretty sure he either trains with him or they're friends. He could run it back with Poirier. That would be the only fight right now that makes sense. But with Poirier and Beneil going at it, with Poirier and Chandler fighting, the rematch with Chandler's on the books if Chandler wins that fight with Poirier. Does the UFC... So the problem is the UFC are not going to give Gaethje another title fight until he gets a win or two under his belt. Now, who are those wins going to be against? If Islam Makhachev beats Oliveira, then obviously that would make Gaethje... Well, it doesn't leave Gaethje anywhere, does it? He still needs to beat someone, right? So I think Gaethje's going to have to rematch whoever wins Poirier Chandler. And if Gamrot beats Beneil Dariush, that puts Gamrot up. Gaethje fights Gamrot. That's his number one contender spot. I don't know how much longer Gaethje's going to fight in a division where maybe a title shot won't be available to him. Because he's already lost 2 title contenderships. And it's unfortunate that is the case, but that's just the sport that he's in. We need new blood in lightweight, I think, in that kind of top view, right? And I feel like I've had this conversation multiple times in the last little while because it's kind of repetitive. The division is kind of repetitive. Because we need the new blood. But it might be less competitive if Islam wins. I mean, it might be less repetitive, not competitive, repetitive if Islam wins because it opens up new doors. Conor coming back. Does Conor come 155? It wouldn't be a smart fight for Conor to come back and fight Gaethje because of the leg kicks. You may have a titanium shin bone, but it would be a dangerous fight. If he can't last fight leg kicks against Poirier, he's going to be out in the first round against Gaethje. It's a rematch. It has to be a rematch. It's either a rematch or Gamrot. I don't see Gaethje fighting anyone further back in that division. It wouldn't make sense to. If Islam wins, Charles Oliveira still is probably number one contender. Right? That's where they're going to slot him in the rankings. But we've seen those fights. Beneil Dariush wins, maybe he gets to fight Oliveira and that's his next step to the title. But I think that if Beneil Dariush wins, he should get the next fight. But what happens with Justin Gaethje? He's not going to go up a weight class and he's not going to go down a weight class. I think he's in a tough spot. I generally think he's in a tough spot. And it's the same with the last conversation had about Poirier and Chandler. It just... There's nothing more to it. So we'll see how the division rolls out in the next couple weeks, because the next couple months, right? And see how things change. Next week is the big pinnacle changing point for the division, in my opinion. Because if Oliveira wins, I feel like lightweight will be stale unless Alex Volkanovski comes in or someone else decides to come in. If Islam wins, it opens up more doors, more fights, more opportunities between that kind of top 6. It is probably the most exciting division, but it also has the potential to become kind of boring depending if there's one dominant champion. Because there's no one else. Right now, who has made their way up into that ranking? Someone in that division is going to have to come back and fight someone, an up-and-coming fighter in lightweight. There's lots. So don't get me wrong. There's lots and lots of fighters in lightweight who are fantastic, who are potentials, who are coming up through the division. Many. But one of the top people are going to have to give them a fight, so we bring new blood in. And right now, Beno Dariush is the only one who's kind of doing that. We're not seeing that anywhere else. We're seeing it in other divisions, Petr Yan, Sean O'Malley, those types of things. But we're not seeing it anywhere else. We've seen it in welterweight, but we're not seeing it in lightweight. Right? We saw it with Hamzat, Gilbert Burns. Lightweight division's an interesting one, boys. Lightweight is an interesting one. Let me know what you guys think. Leave me a comment down below. I'm happy, interested to see what everyone has to say. And if you've watched up until this point, you should probably hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that little bell that notifies you the next time I drop a video. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe. Everyone, have a good one. I'll see you on the next one.